Ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to go out and find treasure.
It is so much more than just a stroll in the Montana woods for Dale Neitzel.
I read all those pirate magazines and comic books, and now I'm getting an opportunity to go out and look for one for real.
Like thousands of others in the Rocky Mountains this summer, he's here on a hunt for this treasure chest, fit for a pirate, filled with gold, precious metals, and ancient artifacts. Its exact dollar value is not known. Some say $1 million, some say millions. How long have you been looking?
I've been looking now for about 5 years.
Aren't you getting a little discouraged at this point?
No, there's nothing to get discouraged about.
But this isn't some long-lost treasure. This is hidden treasure, placed by an eccentric millionaire 5 years ago. It's there for the taking if you can figure out the clues.
Well, I believe that his secret place is a place where there is some kind of running water.
On this day, the clues have taken him here to this lake near Yellowstone National Park and to this rock. And here we are. And maybe Dale is just steps away from life-changing wealth. Or?
No, I don't think this is it.
Maybe not. Dale had a long career as a professional treasure hunter, salvaging sunken ships. But this is his toughest quest yet. This trip was his 64th attempt. There's no guarantee it's going to be found even in our lifetime.
That's right, that's right. But it doesn't stop me from looking for it, because it's fun to look for it. And there's always the chance. There's always the chance.
Which no one knows better than the man who hid it, 84-year-old Forrest Fenn, who made a career out of collecting treasures of his own.
Well, Mr. Peterson, here's Sitting Bull's pipe.
Wow, feel that. That's right, the pipe from the Indian chief who bested George Custer and his men at Little Bighorn. Fenn grew up in Texas, and as a youth explored the American West. He learned a lot about life's value as a fighter pilot in Vietnam, where he was shot down twice. He eventually moved to Santa Fe and made his millions as a successful art and antique dealer. The idea of a treasure hunt started after he survived a bout with cancer.
I said, I've had so much fun collecting all of these things. Why not let somebody else have the same opportunity that I've had?
He drove out across the Rockies and left the chest.
And when I walked back to my car, I talked to myself out loud. There was nobody around any place. And I said, Forrest Fenn, did you really do that? And I started laughing. As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold.
Fenn then wrote a poem with 9 clues, placing the treasure somewhere in the Rockies in one of 4 states: Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, or New Mexico.
From there is no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high.
Now, do you want to add anything to the hints?
The treasure is not hidden in a mine. A lot of these old mines are dangerous. I mean, they have snakes in them, they have black widow spiders.
Well, that's a good hint and a good piece of advice.
Did I give you a hint? Really? You're not being fair to me, Barry.
Well, I don't think that narrows it down a lot, I got to tell you. Lust and Loot, it turns out, launched a lot of lookers. What has been the response from people who are trying to find this treasure?
I stopped keeping emails at 65,000.
65,000. Add to that.
And it's called the Fenn Treasure Hunt.
The countless more on YouTube.
Es geht den Schatz von Forrest Fenn, ein amerikanischer.
With their own plans to find the treasure.
But if you look at the first line, as I have gone alone in there, if you count the number of syllables, Paul, go ahead and count those for us.
But is it really out there? Assure me somehow that this treasure is real. How do I know that?
The only way that I could prove to you that the treasure is hidden is to take you there.
And what are my chances that you are going to do that?
There's an old saying, 2 people can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
Okay.
So if I take you out there, I wouldn't want to be your insurance agent.
To avoid that deadly fate, we opted to just ask someone who knows a lot about secrets, his friend, Valerie Plame. You may remember her, a former CIA agent. Plame's cover was compromised in 2003 by a White House official. Scandal ensued, and Plame and her husband eventually moved to Santa Fe, where she met Fenn. You're an ex-CIA operative. Do you give Forrest credit for keeping his secret for so long? Because he won't tell anybody.
Apparently not even his wife.
Not even his wife.
That is something.
Do you believe him? Do you think that treasure's out there?
Oh, absolutely. I think that this is something that Forrest has done to completely amuse himself.
Another friend, writer Michael McGarity, agrees. He is one of many people we spoke with who say they saw the treasure before Fenn hid it.
Forrest, whether he admits it or not, loves attention. But he denies it.
He has this aw shucks
Yeah,
personality,
he does.
but he's as sharp as can.
Exactly.
So we don't take the aw shucks at face
No.
value.
Oh, no.
His ego is involved. Who he is and what he comes from is involved. His whole life has been one big adventure after another.
Adventures that he loved, and hiding the treasure was a way to pass that love on. In your mind, who would be the best person or family to find this treasure?
A family that is joined together and going out looking for the treasure 4 or 5 or 10 or 50 times. Take a tent and sleeping bags and your fishing pole and go out looking. That was my primary motive.
Amber, come with Daddy.
And that is exactly the motive driving the Dunston family of city slickers who are slip-sliding through the southern Colorado backwoods.
This is crazy. Amanda, look. This is terrifying.
Last month, they left their home in Orange County, California, on their own search for Fenn's treasure. What is the lure of this treasure hunt for you?
The adventure of it, the fun of it, the riddles, solving puzzles.
Parents Marlene and Mark, along with Amanda and Amber, Audrey and Ashlyn, are far from their comfort zones.
There might be bears, there might be wildlife, we might get lost, so it's super fun. I feel like I really bonded with my older daughters doing it.
If only you could see the expressions on their faces.
Yeah, well, you know, they're teenagers, so. Daddy's like Indiana Jones. Careful, Mark. Oh, my God.
The Dunston family trip ended with photos and memories, but alas, no treasure. As for Forrest Fenn, who launched 1,000 dreams on a hunt yet to end, he has no regrets for what is out there, somewhere, for any of us to find. You would do it again?
I would do it again in an instant. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you've been brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
Part of the area includes national parks, national forest, maybe Indian land. What have you figured out if the treasure is found in those areas? Who owns it?
This is not something that I jumped into superficially. I mean, I tried to think of everything. My feeling is, if you can find a treasure chest, you can have it.
But if I find the treasure and it's in a national park, don't I have to share it with Uncle Sam?
I spent a bunch of money with a lawyer to figure out the question about who owns it, if it's found on public land, on private property, or on Indian land. Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of answers. If it's found in a national park, according to my attorney, the person that finds it is required to take it to the park superintendent. The rules are different if you find it on private property. If you find it on Indian land, it really gets complicated.
And the person who finds it has to deal with the legal questions.
Well, if there's a legal question, yeah. What if there's not a legal question? My argument is the person that finds it is going to own it.